my grandfather on my mother's side had been to sea, and I had thoughts I wanted to go to sea. And I took the entrance exam to the Dartmouth Naval College. Whilst I was a bit in between papers, I read a book on New Scotland Yard. I then found I hadn't passed the exam, and because my father knew the sergeant in the village, police sergeant in the village, he had got a job for me as a junior clerk at the Bucks Constabulary. When I started junior clerk, one of the special things that happened to me there was that we had a special preview of the film The Blue Lamp with Jack Warner. And I thoroughly enjoyed that, not knowing that years later, when I was at Paddington Green Police Station, we had Jack Warner to lunch on 2 occasions, and I sat next to him on both occasions. A lovely man, and got what people don't know about him, although he was an actor, he'd also been in the First World War as a pilot and got the Meritorious Service Medal. And then later on in my service, I was asked by the Commissioner to attend the memorial service for Jack Warner at St Martin's in the Field. So that was a wonderful experience for me. And then of course I joined the force. I joined at Bow Street when they had Covent Garden, that was the market there then. And, you probably won't remember that, but that was all flowers and vegetables there at that time. And then I went up to New Scotland Yard. One of the things I was involved there was I was taken into the office of my chief superintendent, and he said, I want to speak to you about something special. I want you to help me prepare a operation for a thing called Operation Hope Not. And so we planned all that. And later I became an inspector and went to Kensington Police Station, where we were looking after lots of VIPs, including Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill died, and then Operation Hope Not was the code word for Churchill's funeral. So I went up, I slept at the yard for a whole week, and I helped with others plan the whole police operation for the Churchill's funeral. So that was a magnificent occasion. And then later on, when I was a chief superintendent, I took 200 police officers up to the Grand Show at Kenilworth, went into show business because we did the Grand Ring display, and I was in charge of the whole lot there. And then when I was a chief superintendent, I was at Paddington Green again, when there was the Balcombe Street siege. I was a chief superintendent, I was the forward control officer at Balcombe Street siege, and Peter Imbert, the commissioner, he and I had been PCs together. He was a chief superintendent, he was a superintendent then, doing the negotiations there. And then later on I went on to, did a tour of America, a lecture tour. When I came back, I was selected to go on the Royal College Defence Studies course, which is the top military course in the country, which they sent police officers on. There were 2 police officers and I was one of them. I had a wonderful year there and came back, was made Deputy Assistant Commissioner. And then I got involved in the Iranian Embassy siege. I was the night duty commander there when the SAS rescued all the hostages. And then later on, I come to the one you wanted to talk about, I became the officer in charge of the shooting of Yvonne Fletcher in St James's Square in 1984. Oh, this is a funny little story. The Queen came to see the actual rehearsal, which we had down at Ember Court, the police sports centre at Ember Court. And the Commissioner came, and the Deputy Commissioner, and I was there waiting, and we were waiting for the Queen to arrive, and a big Rolls Royce turned up, and they obviously thought it was going to be the Queen, and out of it came Hardy Amys, because he'd actually designed the things that were going on the bugles, so the banners that were going on the bugles. So we had to then wait for the Queen, and she turned up in a Land Rover, driving herself with a headscarf on. So